Turning now to wrap up your top stories of the day, we are following breaking news on an Amber Alert out of the eastern part of North Carolina. A 1-year-old girl and her mom kidnapped from a home in Gardner. Police say armed suspects broke into the home, tied them up with tape, and then demanded $1 million. When the family reviews, the suspect kidnapped both the woman and child. The getaway car described as a black Nissan Altima.
And of course, I'm staying on top of that breaking traffic news in Matthews, where I-485 is currently shut down in both directions due to a gas leak from Independence Boulevard all the way down into Providence Road. Piedmont Natural Gas is on the scene, but there is no current estimate time of reopening. Want to also mention that John Street also blocked from Park Square Place to McGee Road. Definitely want to avoid this area. Chris?
Yeah, it's going to be a good forecast, but we'll have more on WCNC Plus coming up for that major traffic incident.
Streaming live right now at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We are following some breaking traffic news right now on 485. Becca, this is going to be a major headache for a lot of people.
That's right, Ben and Lisa, especially as rush hour traffic has just commenced. Now, here's what we know so far. I-485 towards the Matthews Mint Hill area is currently shut down in both directions from Independence Boulevard to Providence Road. This is all due to a gas leak that was first reported close to around 5 o'clock this morning. That was previously had just closed a portion of East John Street. Now has extended again all the way to both directions for I-485. Of course, best alternate route right now would be to take Pineville Matthews Road. We do know from Matthews Police Department that Piedmont Natural Gas is on the scene, but they have not had a time of reopening yet for I-485. John Street is also blocked from Park Square Place to McKee Road. A good alternate route for that is utilize Tanktown Road that turns into East Charles Street, or you can also utilize Matthews Mint Hill Road to get around this, but just avoid this area. And of course, we will have more updates to come later on this morning. Also looking at a new crash is in East Charlotte, Albemarle Road. Road at Central Avenue, and a new incident being reported on outbound Wilkinson Boulevard at Harley Avenue, currently blocking one lane of traffic.
What a mess. Well, Becca will keep you updated on that. Luckily, the weather's behaving, coupled with everything that's going on at 45 in the Matthews area. And right now, our camera's looking great. So if you go above the roads, we're looking at a clear sky to a mostly sunny one. Lows in the lower 80s, they're already here for the afternoon. And then we have close to 90 tomorrow. But the big thing and the big change is going to be a chance for rain. Now, I know we had a chance for rain all last week, and you didn't really see all that much. Now we're seeing a better setup, especially Friday heading into Saturday. Monroe, a different shot here. A lot of those upper level clouds. So I think what's going to happen is we will have a cloudier sky by the end of the morning and the early afternoon before those clouds will start to erode. So not the wall-to-wall sunshine scenario like yesterday, but still gorgeous. Right now we're at 59 degrees. We've gained 1 degree for the most recent update. Cool spot is Boone at 47 degrees and 50 degrees right around Chirag. We're back to the 70s between about 10 and 11. And as we head into lunchtime, we're looking at temperatures in the mid 70s. All right. Highs, lower 80s. And that is a nice spot to be in, well above normal, feeling more like May instead. And then the Knights are actually back in town for a 6-game stretch. So that's going to be a nice feeling game as well. Starting off right around 80, 79 degrees for the first pitch at 6:35. And then we're finishing the game in the lower 70s. I also hear it's Taquito Tuesday. All right. 63 degrees. That's our low overnight tonight. And then going forward over the next several mornings, we're only falling to the lower to the mid 60s. That's that cloud cover that's really going to control that. Also, we're underneath a warm front that's going to be controlling this as well. But as I mentioned, today feels like May. The following days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, feeling at some part of June within the first 15 days. So the last days of spring, feeling like that to end the week. And it's also ending the week with a better chance for rain. And here I'm going to go through these in a little bit more detail for the next couple of days. And then a little bit later on here in the half hour, I'm going to really focus in on the Charlotte area for the Love and Life concert. Also, Kendrick Lamar is in town on Saturday. So not a great weekend to have a big rain chance, and that is really growing for this coming Saturday, where it's going to be the busiest. But Tuesday, today, I think you just have those clouds I mentioned either side of Nunes. I think it's going to be the thickest. So overall, still a partly cloudy day, but don't be surprised if it does look mostly cloudy from time to time. Sunshine winning out to end the day. By tomorrow, I think we're dry most of the day, but we will have an exception to the rule north of I-40. That's where we have the first signs of rain as a front is positioning itself just to the north. I think Charlotte stays dry, but a passing light shower isn't out of the question heading into the evening, but it's certainly from the Hickory, Morganton, and Taylorsville area that has the highest potential. Now we go to round 2. Thursday, late afternoon has a better chance for showers. I think what could potentially happen here is a lot of the activity could die out. But again, I think it's north of I-40 that has a better chance. But this is definitely Charlotte's first real rain chance that we have this week, and that's going to be really late afternoon heading into the middle of the evening. Once the sun sets, we're going to fade out that activity, and then we set up for round 3. Now, here's the deal. The reason why we're so warm is because of a warm front. That warm front is cranking winds out of the southwest. That also drags in more moisture. So tomorrow it'll feel close to sticky status, but it's really Thursday and Friday that we feel a lot more of that moisture that's pushing on in. So we'll take a closer look at that coming up. But our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, you see Wednesday's the warmest day, mid 80s through Friday, and then we're back to the 70s this weekend, but still a lot of question marks for that storm chance on Saturday. I'll have that full forecast coming up here shortly.
7:05 now. We're also following breaking news on an Amber Alert out of eastern North Carolina. Search is underway this morning after a 1-year-old girl and her mother were kidnapped from a home in Garner. Police say 3 armed suspects broke into the home, tied up a man with tape, and demanded $1 million. When the family refused, the suspects kidnapped both the woman and child. The getaway car is described as a black Nissan Altima. Anyone with information is asked to call 911.
Today marks 1 year since the deadly officer ambush in East Charlotte. 4 law enforcement officers killed in line of duty when a heavily armed gunman shot them outside his home.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live outside that home this morning. And Richard, you talked to some neighbors about that fateful day.
Yeah, we've been speaking to neighbors throughout the last several weeks about the incident that happened here a year ago. Good morning to you guys. Good Tuesday morning all. The house still sits empty here as a lot of neighbors remember that day, that tragedy that occurred here in this neighborhood. Some saying they wish that this house would remain empty for the most part. This is where 4 law enforcement officers lost their lives in the line of duty just 12 months ago to this day. This community still healing, still remembering the events of that day. They remember the day vividly. They say police everywhere, guns drawn, fear of not knowing what was going on, and then the reality of learning that 4 men had lost their lives and nothing would ever be the same. 4 other officers also injured in what would have happened, and that on this street, Galway. When the pain remains fresh, so does the unity that this neighborhood started to get. Residents say the tragedy created lasting bonds and renewed a commitment to supporting first responders as well as each other. Since that tragedy occurred, some have put up memorials at a nearby park in this neighborhood. Others have found strength and remembering and resilience in each other.
Maybe they would have made it some type of memorial for the fallen officers, but really, honestly, I don't see nobody living in that house. But, you know, just a sad situation.
I just pray, meditate, and think about the families, and hopefully the prayers bring positive results and energy to them. I know it's hard for them. It can't be easy.
And both those folks that we spoke to and so many of the folks we spoke to who are off camera said that they still have prayers and positive thoughts that they send out to those 4 law enforcement officers' family. We're right here in East Charlotte. Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Richard, thanks so much for that. Tonight, we're going to be airing a special at 5:30, taking a look at that day, what has changed since, the questions we still have, and remembering those officers. We'll be streaming that coverage right here on WCNC+.
The lights back on for millions of people across Europe this morning after a multi-country power outage yesterday. NBC's Raf Sanchez has the late details as that power slowly gets turned back on.
Massive traffic jams across major European cities like Madrid after a vast outage knocked out power across Spain, Portugal, and parts of France. Tens of millions impacted as rail travel ground to a halt. Flights across Europe were canceled and subway stations plunged into darkness. Families following emergency lighting to get back to the surface.
Everything started kind of going, awkward as our phones stopped working, the lights in the hotel went out.
Phone service and ATMs also knocked out in another alarming example of the power grid's fragility. Spain's prime minister tonight saying the cause is still a mystery. While at Spanish supermarkets, there was panic buying. And at the Madrid Open, the blackout halting play and cutting off Coco Gauff's post-match interview.
To not get a lot of sleep.
The American star later posting from darkened locker rooms. And the Spanish government says tonight the power is starting to come back on, while the European Union is saying at this point there's no indication this was caused by a cyber attack.
I was looking it up. It looks like really big fluctuations in Spain of power demand basically is what caused this, and it trips the system.
Right.
That makes sense.
I tell you what, I don't want to be stuck anywhere in a power outage.
No.
A subway system would be near the top of the list of places I would.
And for hours, I think like 11 hours at some point, there were still people who were on trains that still needed to be, rescued.
People caught in elevators, just depending on certain things. Yeah, and there's a big ripple effect that comes with this. And you think about it's almost apocalyptic if a whole country loses power.
Right.
So you also have the economic impacts. You have the cybersecurity. May not be a cyber attack, but then systems go down. So yeah, there could be always a worst case scenario, but wow, usually don't hear something that widespread as far as a power outage goes.
Thankfully, it is coming back on.
Thank goodness. Hopefully the last time for a very long time.
Right.
All right, well, today marks President Trump's 100th day in office. This is a live look at the White House right now, where it's been a roller coaster start to his second term. The president will celebrate today's milestone in Michigan, a key state he won in November. But recent polling could put a damper on his celebrations. NBC's Alice Barr explains from Washington this morning.
President Trump today marking his 100th day in office with a rally in Michigan. As his sweeping tariffs hit the auto industry hard, Trump officials say the president is planning to reduce some fees on foreign auto parts for cars assembled in the U.S., while keeping tariffs on imported vehicles. That as just 39% of Americans approve of his tariff policies, according to a new NBC News Stay Tuned poll.
We're going to make a lot of money and we're going to cut taxes for the people of this country.
The president slamming recent polling as Democrats point to his approval rating overall underwater at 45%.
It's been 100 days of hell for American families.
The president gets higher ratings on immigration, as the administration touts a 95% drop in illegal border crossings in March from the same time last year.
We are the most secure border in the history of this nation.
It's also defending against criticism over who it's targeting to remove from the country, including 3 U.S. citizen children sent to Honduras with their undocumented mothers, among them a 4-year-old boy who left without access to his cancer medications.
What we did is remove children with their mothers who requested the children depart with them. This was a parental decision.
A migrant rights group calls that completely untrue.
The moms did not feel that they had any choice in the matter. They were simply told that their U.S. citizen children were going with them.
President Trump pressing ahead with 3 new executive orders on immigration, including one cracking down on sanctuary cities. The Treasury Secretary holding a press briefing today after saying it's up to China to de-escalate trade tensions because they sell more to the U.S. than we sell to them, while acknowledging these are complex negotiations as markets to Main Street continue to watch for the trade war fallout. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
7:13 now. The Love and Life Music Festival is set to take over Uptown this Friday, and safety will be the top priority. City leaders and local law enforcement held a briefing to discuss this year's safety plan. CMPD says folks should expect several road closures and increased security at the festival.
Definitely, again, plan accordingly if you are coming through. And as we said in our other talking points, it's okay to flag an officer down, ask for guidance and direction. We have troubleshooters that are specifically assigned to the festival so they can go around and help out anybody who can't get to where they need to go to. So again, we just ask for patience and again, communicate with an officer that you see in uniform, and we can try to resolve any issues that we have. One of the things we do internally is we did restrict all single vacation days. So if an officer was scheduled for a day off or an extended vacation, everybody will be working because obviously we are beholden to our public safety and 911 call response. So pretty much if you have a uniform or if you're a detective, you're working this coming weekend, whether or not you're at the stadium, the night stadium, or this event here, as well as answering calls for service.
If you are going to the festival, CMPD recommends using public transportation. CATS officials gave more details about train and bus service during that briefing.
We'll also have additional service capacity supporting the Blue Line with additional trains and frequencies to help with the crowds. And we will, again, for the second year, be running express buses between the main event and J.W. Clay, University City Boulevard, and the I-485 park and rides. At CATS, safety is our #1 priority, and we would highly encourage all riders, if they see something, say something. We've made this very easy. Riders can use the CATS Pass app. The Report a Problem button on the app will allow them to quickly report any issues or activities that they deem need to be reported.
CATS is also offering a discounted weekend pass to help folks get around. As for the street closures, 7th Street and 8th Street between Brevard and Caldwell will close tonight. All other road closures in the immediate area of that festival will start on Thursday at 9 a.m. and open up on Tuesday, May 6th before rush hour.
And I am following that breaking traffic news in the Matthews area. Got a couple of updates from the Matthews Police Department. This is all due to that gas leak that was previously shutting down I-485 completely in both directions from Independence to Providence Road. The new update is I-485 now closed both directions just at East John Street. So here's what the Matthews Police Department is doing. They are diverting traffic off the exit ramp to East John Street, but then they're diverting traffic back onto the entry ramp to get back on to I-485. And this is all to avoid that East John Street bridge so that they can make the necessary repairs. We also do have an estimated time of restoration, which is a couple of hours from now, about noon. John Street is also blocked from Park Square Place to McKee Road. Best workaround to get around this would be to take Pineville Matthews Road. Again, you'll want to completely avoid the area and avoid the southern portion of the outer and inner loop of I-485. Big picture, got a couple of other problem spots out there, none of which are causing as major delays. But as we take a live look outside, this is I-77 out at Tondo Avenue. Traffic moving along nicely there. Chris.
Thanks a lot, Becca. Yeah, what a busy start to your morning commute. And today, luckily, is not going to be a problem weather-wise, so 0% chance for rain. And then 20s on Wednesday and Thursday. I think Charlotte has a better chance of seeing maybe a shower or storm Thursday evening. But then after that, we see these numbers start to increase. And I might even move it up to 60% here on this coming Saturday, and that would be deemed as a likely chance for rain across the area. But what I want to focus in here is the weekend forecast. What's going to happen is we have this front that's going to get really close to us. Now, the best case scenario, it accelerates, and then that would be clearing out by Saturday morning. And then you don't have to worry about any concert problems for the rain on Saturday evening or even Saturday afternoon, because we don't just have the Love and Life concert. There's also Kendrick Lamar's with SZA that is going to be in town starting at 7 o'clock at Bank of America Stadium. That's going to be on Saturday. So I think our first real big widespread rain chance arrives late on Friday evening. But then once this front gets a little bit closer to us, it looks like it's during the afternoon that we could have a strong line of either heavier rain or even some thunderstorms associated with this, but it's just about the timing of this. Now, this is still really far out, so there could be some good news here that literally by the afternoon you're clear and then it's just breezy and then a little bit cooler. So our future cast is going to be all over the place just depending where we are, but let's slow it down for the Love and Life concert. I'm going to show you two different models. For one that we're really focusing in on Love and Life, this is the best case scenario. This does have some rain starting right around 8 to 9 o'clock where we have Benson Boone starting. And then Gwen Stefani is going to be live at 9:30 to 11. That keeps rain around during that time, but hey, it was fine last year where we had Stevie Nicks and the rain was coming down. And then that rain looks like it could continue on Saturday morning and then heading into the afternoon. This model actually has things starting to clear by the back end of the forecast. So you see 2 o'clock and then by 7 o'clock, everything is good and past and gone. But I'm going to show you a different scenario. Check this one out. So this is Saturday. This one has the heavier rain really by the evening, but then once you get to the final act, Weezer goes on about 9:30, by the way. It looks like things are getting out of there, and then regardless on Sunday, everything's just fine. There's a lot of great acts like Dave Matthews Band. We have Teddy Swims. Super excited about that. I'm not going, but I'm excited that he's even in town. So it looks like Sunday you're going to be perfectly fine. So again, there's a lot of questions still up in the air about how this is going to affect the concert, but just keep your fingers crossed, because right now there is still the possibility that this ends a lot earlier, not affecting Kendrick, not affecting the big acts on Saturday night. Of course, we'll keep you updated right here on WCNC Plus as we get closer and closer.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. Well, right here on WCNC Plus, proof that morning meteorologist, our own Larry Sprinkle, is just known just about everywhere.
In fact, he made a special appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon last night. Fallon added a little humor on who could be the next pope. Maybe Sprinkle, who knows?
I haven't seen that.
Take a look at who he mentioned.
No, Jimmy. There could be an Italian pope named Pizza Balla. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. That's like if the president of Nintendo was named like Doug Bowser.
Turkey, I want to see this clip.
We are now joined by Doug Bowser, president of Nintendo of America.
What? You gotta be kidding me. Well, that's like if there was a chef named like Tom Kitchen.
Hi guys, it's Tom Kitchen here in my restaurant, The Kitchen in Edinburgh.
What? That's like if there was a weatherman named like Larry Sprinkle.
Every day you rely on Larry Sprinkle for your forecast as you head out the door.
I know, but there's a limit. It's not like there's a guy named Paul Paulos in the St. Paul Police Department.
Chief of Police Paul Paulos of St. Paul.
All right, moving on. Thank you, Tariq Trotter.
There he is.
Very well done.
Wow, that was crazy.
Very well done.
Thank you, Jimmy Fallon. You read it just like I wrote it. No, that was amazing. I'd heard rumors about this, hadn't seen it yet. So
You didn't call up Jimmy and say, hey, you can put me on tonight?
Yeah, some pull.
So those names are being considered. So there's an opportunity here that the big conclave.
Yeah.
There'll be a mention.
Perhaps.
Hope Sprinkle.
Could you imagine?
That's right.
I don't think you'd want that.
we should say it. We've talked about this before, but there's also Dallas Range.
Oh, yeah, there's Amy Freeze.
Amy Freeze.
Yeah,
Ken Weathers over in Knoxville.
Oh.
Johnny Thunder.
Johnny Thunder.
So, I mean, all the apropos names.
And you guys have meetings on occasionally just to discuss your names.
In fact, Amy Freeze has a podcast, and I'm going to be on that sometime soon. We're talking about the fact that she and I both, over the years, have been mentioned on occasionally. Shows maybe like Fallon, but that was a nice shout out. Thank you, Jimmy Fallon.
That's right.
Thank you, NBC.
Now, did you tell me that you met another Larry Sprinkle?
I did a live shot, a remote broadcast, probably about 25 years ago up in Statesville. Four. I was so upset because I thought there couldn't be another person with that name. I really was. Well,
Right.
You can't. Yeah.
Four.
Yeah. So there were 3 other Larry Sprinkles. So there were 4 of us together, Larry Sprinkle, and one couldn't make it. He lived in Concord at the time. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
But the other,
it's like impossible.
The
Come
other
on.
3 didn't choose a career of weather. So
No. One was actually a minister, Reverend Larry Sprinkle. So.
Oh.
So there is a religious connection to that name to begin with. So we'll see what happens.
when he baptizes somebody, he does a sprinkle.
That's right. That's exactly right. But anyway, thank you. Good to be back for a moment.
We love it.
Great to have you, Larry. Good to see you.
Larry Sprinkle, that's right.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jimmy Fallon.
New study named Charlotte as one of the top 5 places to live in the country, confirming what we already knew. U.S. News and World Report points to the city's strong economy along with plenty of activities, pro sports games, all our museums, parks, breweries. Plus, we're only a few hours away from the mountains and the beach. What's not to love? And many people agree they see the Queen City. It's the place to be.
We are not a well-kept secret. And being a great place to live and pursue work, it's our cornerstone.
Study comes as more than 100 people move here every single day because the word is out. Number 1 on the list. A place I've never been, but I've heard great things. Naples, Florida. 2, Boise, Idaho.
Haven't been there.
Not been there either.
Colorado Springs. And then we got some great representation because number 4 is Greenville, South Carolina.
Hey.
Also very cool city.
I still haven't been there. I need to
You should go check it out. Greenville's cool.
Followed by number 5, Charlotte.
The best.
And a little bit of justice, I would say. Number 6, Raleigh.
You mean as in behind Charlotte? After.
The far inferior position behind Charlotte is what I mean.
Yeah, if there could be a far enough distance 6, that's where Raleigh
If
is.
you're not 5th, you're last.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the science. It's just the
what it
science.
is.
I can't do anything about it, Raleigh.
But here's the thing. I mean, Charlotte is a great place.
And everybody knows it. And word has gotten out. And we're the better for it because we love the city the way it is.
We are.
And even if traffic's horrible.
If we could get some wider interstates to fit the 100 people moving here a day, we'd be number 1.
I know.
That's right.
Maybe that's what it is.
And not number 6, Raleigh.
All right, going to take a quick break. Live pictures over Charlotte. Coming up in just about a minute, Chris is going to have another check of your forecast. Plus, Becca has some serious issues on 485 this morning in between Providence and Independence. It's information you got to know before you head out the door because it's going to cause big problems. We've got that. Plus, we're back with the headlines at 7:30 right here on WCNC Plus.
Good Tuesday morning. I am following a breaking traffic news out of Matthews due to a gas leak. I-485 is shut down in both directions at East John Street, and Piedmont Natural Gas is currently on the scene with an estimated time of reopening close to around noon. Now, traffic is being diverted off of the exit ramp from East John Street right back onto the entry ramp to get onto I-485, and this is all due to avoid traffic on East John Street as they continue to make those repairs. Best workaround for this would probably to use Pineville Matthews Road instead. Also want to let you know John Street is completely blocked in both directions, also from Park Square Place to McKee Road. Again, best alternate route and workaround would be just up to the north in the green. That is Pineville Matthews Road. Chris?
Thanks a lot, Becca. Here's what's going on for the next 7 days. Our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast showing the lower 80s today. We'll see a partly cloudy sky turn mostly sunny by the end of the afternoon. 87 degrees tomorrow, so that's the warmest day. There's a slight chance for a shower storm, mainly along I-40. And then Thursday, better chance for a few scattered showers and storms heading into your Thursday evening. But it's a Friday late day and then Saturday afternoon, their best chance for rain going forward. Once that front clears, we're actually going to have another picture-perfect end of the weekend, just like last weekend, with highs in the mid-70s. Join us at WCNC Plus right now. We'll see you soon.
Following breaking news right now at 7:30 live on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Thanks for joining us. We want to get to our Becca Birdsall, who has an update now on that traffic situation on I-485. Becca.
This is going to cause big problems for our Matthews drivers. Right now, here's what we know. Currently, I-485 is shut down still in both directions, but it's shut down just at East John Street. And this is all due to a gas leak that happened early on this morning that previously had just shut down portions of East John Street. Now, here's what Matthews Police Department is doing. Traffic is being diverted off of the exit ramp to East John Street, then right back onto the entry ramp to get onto I-485. They're doing that in both directions to avoid any traffic on that bridge on I-485 towards John Street so they can make those necessary repairs. Right now, estimated time of reopening is close to around noon today, so you'll definitely want to seek an alternate route. John Street still blocked from Park Square Place to McKee Reed, so just an idea, you'll want to completely avoid this area. Best workaround right now would be to take Pineville Matthews Road to get around all of this mess. Also in East Charlotte, still have that active crash, Albemarle Road at Central Avenue, and we did have a live view before, but I guess we don't anymore. Still looking good out there. Just want to definitely avoid the area. Chris?
Thanks a lot, Becca. We are looking at a beautiful sky right now. Just some upper level clouds that are going to be joining us. And I'm going to jump right to our futurecast because I want to show you exactly what we're going to see today. Those upper level clouds, I think, are going to flourish as we really work our way through the morning into the afternoon. So at times it will be cloudier than others. That green that you're seeing right there, I like to refer to that as Doppler garbage. That's usually what you have in real time. But that means that, hey, it's not going to rain. It's not factoring in some of the drier air. So a lot of that's just going to fall as what's called virga. That is precipitation that evaporates before it hits the ground. Then once you get to the latter part of the afternoon, I think we see a lot more blue sky. So yeah, we might have a little cloudier period here and there, but it's really not going to be too bad. I'm really excited about today's forecast. Now, your evening forecast, great for a baseball game. No, seriously, it's going to feel amazing out. You have temperatures that are falling from 80 to 72 as the first pitch is at 6:35, and it's also tall boys and taquito night. So if you're into one or both of those things, it's going to be a good night for you. And then our high temperatures going forward, we are going to see a really uptick in temperatures, really spiking by tomorrow. Tomorrow's highs are going to be close to 90 degrees, mainly in the upper 80s, though, is what we're going to see. And it's going to be the warmest day as that jet stream is starting to jump its way further off towards the north. And here are your temperatures: 87 degrees right around Charlotte, 88 in Sherrod, and still the mid-70s rocked up in the mountains, who I think are going to see some additional cloud cover. As far as our lows go, 63 degrees by tomorrow morning, and then we have the lower to the mid 60s for our lows, so pretty mild there overall. But now getting to our rainfall chances, you're going to see an increased rain chance day by day. Now, it depends where you are. If you live in Hickory, I think you could see rain tomorrow, but you won't see it in Huntersville and Charlotte. Now, once you get to Thursday and Thursday evening, I think Hickory, you're going to be in line for rain yet again, but then you have a better chance to say rain over in Shelby. And then once you get to Friday, Saturday, all of us, I think, are going to be involved. So moving past today, as I just showed you, we're mostly clear through this current evening. A few more clouds by tomorrow morning. Wednesday still looks to be great. Strong winds out of the southwest. Here's that rain chance that I'm talking about. This is 3 p.m. seeing some scattered showers and thunderstorms either side of I-40 mainly. Shelby, maybe you get bit by a shower briefly, and then this rain expands heading into the evening, and once the sun sets, it's gone. A lot of these rain chances are going to be driven by the sun. They're called diurnal rain chances, and then once the sun sets, we lose the energy and they fade off pretty quickly. So I think that's going to be the case in scenario. For your Thursday, we're dry for the first half of the day, but then areas west of I-77 have a chance for a blossoming shower or thunderstorm. The map might not be as busy as this is showing, might be a little more busy heading into the evening, but still, this is Charlotte's first rain chance of the week for Gastonia and right around Lincolnton. And then we really start to increase our chances as more moisture starts to jet in. That's going to be on Friday, late day heading into Saturday. So I think we're dry for most of your Friday, but then by the late afternoon, heading into the evening, we're used to this pattern by the time you get the middle of the summertime. And this low and this cold front are going to move in during your Saturday afternoon. So there's still a lot of questions. Where is this going to be? Now, if this front moves fast, we're going to see more rain on Saturday morning, or not really any at all, and then things start getting fired up east of us heading into the late afternoon and the evening. But if this front moves through the middle of the afternoon on Saturday, we're looking at widespread showers, even thunderstorms. That'll affect the Love and Life concert. Right now, I think we split the difference, that a lot of that rain is getting out of here by your Saturday evening, so it could be a rough start to the concerts. But right now, things are lining up that right around the start of the Kendrick Lamar concert. Yeah, he's also in town, Bank of America Stadium. By the way, if you don't like busyness, Uptown has the Love and Life concert, Kendrick Lamar, and then we also have the nights that are in town as well. So very busy across the board. Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. There are 3 days of the Love and Life concert and festival, and it looks like Sunday is definitely the pick of those days because there's 0 rain chances. If you remember this past Sunday, we were at 75 degrees, sunshine all day long, and it felt amazing. Like literally perfect conditions. We're going to have that again for Sunday and this coming Monday. Just still a lot of big question marks about where the rain's going to set up on Friday and Saturday. Also keep in mind, just recently, this past week, we had pretty much a rain chance every day, and most of us didn't see rain every day. So I think that's going to be a similar case scenario. Some areas see more than others, but as of right now, your Friday evening and your Saturday afternoon look to be the best time slots for a passing shower or storm. Of course, we'll keep you updated on WCNC and WCNC Plus. It gets a little bit closer. As for today, no rain chances, no worries.
Chris, thanks. 7:36 right now on WCNC Plus. A former CMS teaching assistant is expected to appear in court this morning. 26-year-old Jalen Little is accused of recording himself having sex with a 17-year-old girl. Little most recently worked at West Meck High School but resigned last year. It's not clear when the alleged incidents took place. He was released on a $100,000 bond. This morning, Charlotte City leaders weighing how to fill Tark Bakari's vacant seat.
He resigned earlier this month for a transit position with the Trump administration. WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kay breaks down what could come next for that seat and what it means for the future of Charlotte's transit.
It has been the honor of a lifetime.
After 7 years of service to Charlotte City Council, Tark Bakari is off to join the Trump administration.
Have accepted the position of Deputy Administrator of the FTA.
In his new role, he becomes one of the most powerful people in Trump's Department of Transportation. Filling his old role is a job in itself.
Because effectively, we have a district that does not have a district rep around.
Monday night, Charlotte City Council decided on an expedited plan that would swear in a temporary replacement on June 2nd. However, some members want applicants to say they will not run in November because of the leg up it would give them.
Hopefully that we will select a caretaker that will not run and make that pledge not to run. And if that person breaks their word, it speaks to character.
At his last town hall earlier this month, Bakari endorsed his wife, Krista Bakari, to fill the seat. She ran for a House seat in November, but lost to Representative Brandon Lofton. No matter who it is, Bakari says he hopes they will keep tackling his two biggest concerns, public safety and infrastructure.
District 6 pays over 25% of the property tax basis that funds this entire city. Yet over my last 8 years, we got less than 2% of infrastructure capital spend back.
Charlotte's biggest upcoming task, approving the red line. The General Assembly would need to pass a bill for Mecklenburg County to put a 1-cent sales tax increase on the ballot. Senator Vicki Sawyer from Iredell County filed that bill, but it hasn't moved forward yet. It's a project Bakari has supported, and his new influence at the White House could be the push lawmakers need to support it too.
We spoke to Matthew Reitenauer. He's a former Republican Mecklenburg County Commissioner, represented the same general area as Tark Bakari. He says this seat could be won by either side in November and expects the Democrats to make a big push for it.
Happening today, Union County is holding a job fair. You can meet with dozens of employers from throughout the county to explore opportunities and network. That starts this morning at 9:30 at the Union County Agricultural and Conference Center. It is time now to connect the dots when we make the news make sense. Big promises to bring manufacturing back to America are running into some tough realities. Bringing manufacturing back to America sounds simple, but the reality is much more complicated. Let's connect the dots. The Wall Street Journal reports many companies are trying to shift supply chains to the U.S., but some key parts and materials just aren't made here anymore, or they cost too much to compete. Decades of offshoring left gaps that can't be fixed overnight. Building new factories for things like steel, electronics, and cast iron would take years and billions of dollars. Even companies that are mostly made in the USA still rely on a few imported parts. Strict rules on labeling make it even harder to fully claim American-made status. Tariffs are raising prices, but they're not always bringing production back. Instead, manufacturers are facing supply shortages, higher costs, and delays. Experts say rebuilding a full domestic supply chain will take a major investment and a lot more time, and that's connecting the dots. We've been telling you about that breaking news right now on I-485. Both directions are closed due to a gas leak in southeast Charlotte near Matthews.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards just arrived on scene. Destiny, you sort of have an advantage overlooking the situation there. What can you tell us?
Yeah, right now we are just west of Matthews on Pleasant Plains Road overlooking I-485 outer loop. And right now we can definitely see stop and go traffic. Traffic is crawling in this area. And just be aware that while I-485 is reopened, it has been reopened, but they are diverting traffic onto the East John Street exit ramp from both directions. And then traffic can get back onto I-485 from the other side of East John Street. So just know that you will not be able to exit there. Just looking at the map, like if you go onto your phone map, you can see the closure there, and you'll likely see that if you're using GPS in this area. And right now they're saying that this is being done to keep drivers from crossing over the bridge while repairs are are being made. So just be aware this morning if you are going into Matthews, if you're traveling on the outer loop to go inbound into Matthews, if you're trying to get to Independence Boulevard to come up north into Charlotte, and if you're coming from the other side, from the Mint Hill area, just be aware that you're going to run into traffic this morning on I-485, as Becca has been talking about. But we can definitely see that it's at a crawl, but again, traffic is just being diverted right now, not a complete closure, but you'll be asked to follow directions to get past this gas leak repair that is happening on East John Street. But for now, reporting live in Matthews, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much for that update. Again, I'm sure adding many minutes to people for their morning commute with those problems there on I-485. Destiny Richards, thanks so much for that.
7:42 right now on WCNC Plus. Check this out. New upgrades on the way for Hornets fans, and they're all about getting closer to the action. Hornets Sports and Entertainment just unveiled the next phase of their Spectrum Center renovations. In addition to 1,400 new lower-level seats, they're also adding new lighting, floors, and signage. The concession stands getting a major upgrade too, with new beverage options, a 360-degree bar, and more spots to grab a bite between buckets.
I think the key of adding the 1,400 lower level seats, that's 1,400 other people that are going to closer to the action. So that was transforming that founders level that we talked about, and also changing coming to that club level a little bit. But it's really about making sure that a guest that's paying their money to come to the building has an incredible experience and is making memories. And it's whether it's the NBA, of course that's very important, but bringing acts to the city of Charlotte are really important, and we have to be competitive, and these renovations can help us keep being competitive.
The plan is to have all these renovations ready to go by tip-off for the next NBA season and to celebrate Spectrum Center's 20th anniversary in October.
Well, according to the Sports and Fitness Industry Association, pickleball participation has grown more than 300% in the last 3 years.
Now, one local organization is making it more accessible to everyone. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris joins us live with more on the impact of Black Pickleball and Company. Good morning, Miles.
Good morning, Lisa and Ben. Yeah, pickleball, it is one of the fastest growing sports in the country, and of course the Queen City is no exception. And organizers with Black Pickleball and Company, they are using the wave from that sport of pickleball and serving Black communities throughout Charlotte, both on and off the courts. Since 2023, Black Pickleball and Company has evolved into a major network hub for Charlotte's Black community.
Black Pickleball and Company is a community-based organization that teaches pickleball financial literacy to underrepresented communities.
Kayla Brooks is the president and founder for the nonprofit and says what sparked the idea was the intention to provide connections and opportunities for cross-class connections through the sport.
And so we wanted to make sure that people who are Black, African American, underrepresented, that they have the opportunity to be able to engage in such business deals, networking opportunities through playing the sport of pickleball.
Similar to the sport, their impact is taking off, seeing hundreds attend their events, building more than pickleball players, but a playing court for all to enjoy.
My heart is full that they have been a part of our mission to enable them to learn the game.
Ben and Lisa, in this group, it plays all over Charlotte. You name it, Tipsy Pickle, Lob City, even Raleigh here. They're playing all over the place. And for more information on this group, maybe if you want to know when their next event is, you can actually go to our WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Be sure to click on this story to get all that information and more. But yeah, a really good time there, Lisa and Ben, getting a chance to obviously connect with Charlotte, a growing city with a growing sport, but also having some fun with it at the same time, guys.
Miles, we see a game going on right behind you. Just wondering if you're going to jump in at some point.
Fair question.
I gotta stretch, guys, before I get out there. I'm a little tight this morning. I gotta warm up before I get out there. But yeah, maybe next time. Next time I'll get some fun out there too.
That's the great thing about WCNC Plus. We're talking to you right now at 7:45, and guess what?
You have time to stretch.
You have time. That works out just so perfectly. I love it. It works out perfectly. Can't wait for it.
We'll see you, Miles.
That's right.
Maybe we'll get lucky in our next hour. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
It's going to be must-see TV.
He didn't expect that. He did not expect that. All right, Miles Harris, thanks so much for that.
All right, let's get back to traffic. Becca, what's the update on 485?
Yeah, the update is heavy. Significant delays continue to form due to this gas leak that has closed I-485 in both directions, but it's just closed at East John Street, meaning traffic is being diverted off of the exit ramp to East John Street, where then they are allowed to get back on to I-485 using that entry ramp on East John Street. And you can see the backups from that camera, and look at that stretch of red in both directions. This is an area that you'll definitely want to avoid. Again, this is not a complete closure like Destiny Richards was mentioning. You are able to get back onto I-485, but this is adding probably 30, even 40 extra minutes to that morning commute, as we are seeing a stretch of delays in both directions between 5 to 6 miles. Also want to mention that John Street is also blocked from Park Square Place to McGee Road. Again, all due to that gas leak as well. Estimated time of reopening for this is close to around 12 o'clock. Got a couple of other incidents out there, but of course that being the main one, so you'll definitely want to allow yourself plenty of extra time as you step outdoors. Do you want to go ahead and get to those drive times? Matthews to Charlotte, now up to 30 minutes. Salisbury to Uptown, 70. Waxhaw, 39. And Belmont, about 24 minutes. Thankfully, the weather department is a lot quieter than the traffic department. Meteorologist Chris Mulcahy has an update on that forecast.
Thanks a lot, Becca. No, thank goodness, right? We are looking at a dry Tuesday. Check out our upcoming rain chances. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all have some sort of rain chance. So we're going to be waiting on that for the meantime. But also our high temperatures are going to hit their peak for at least the near term. By tomorrow, we're up to 87 degrees. We are going to see another dip in the temperatures, and that's all going to be associated with a cold front. So this cold front is going to be the big maker of the rain as we drive a little bit closer to this event. So this is going to be a cause and concern for any concert goers. As of right now, it does look like some blossoming showers and storms on Friday. It's not a guarantee. I think they're pretty scattered. It's this event right here on Saturday, wherever that front lines up, because it's going to be fueling off the heat and humidity of the day. It's always a front that's going to have the best chance to drive up our widespread rain status or thunderstorms. This is something to watch. If it arrives a little bit earlier in the morning, I think it's relatively dry, and then storms really trigger east of Charlotte. If it arrives right in the middle of the afternoon, it could be more of an earlier afternoon event. Just kind of keep that in mind. Here's the best case scenario for concert goers, since we're focusing in on some of the concerts that are a little bit closer to home. Here is at 8 o'clock on Friday. At this point, there's signs that we could have some scattered showers. Now, the thing is, with the long range models that we look at, it literally just shows a light green to a yellow. It doesn't really show a lot of details. Sometimes it shows red if we're talking about tropical systems. But Benson Boone's at 8 to 9. It's not guaranteed that we're going to see rain, but at least we're seeing rain in the area at this point for when Gwen Stefani is performing here on Friday night, 9:30 to 11. It keeps rain chances around through the overnight heading into Saturday morning. So I think as of right now, the best case scenario is that we see rain after Gwen Stefani through your Saturday morning, and then we clear things out before we get to the evening, because at 7 o'clock, it's not just Love and Life. You also have Kendrick Lamar and SZA that are going to be in town, and also the Knights are in town. It's very busy around Uptown for a Saturday night, but there are signs that this could be out of here by your Saturday evening, and then that's going to clear things out for your Saturday night. So good news there. Beyond this, it's going to be a cool down with more clouds and that passing front. It looks like we're only in the mid to the upper 70s, which is the upper 70s where we should be this time of year. But if you remember last Sunday, it was only a couple of days ago, it was near perfect feeling. No clouds, mid 70s. We could have that again starting off in the mid 50s, and we rock the mid 70s heading into next week as well. So really it's a forecast for everyone with rain, dry days, near 90, and that beautiful spring-like temperature range in the mid 70s.
It's time for our Tuesday morning tailwagger, and we're featuring today this guy right here, Marty, in deep thought about maybe getting a forever home. Marty is a great dog. He's about a year old, weighs about 45 to 50 pounds. He is well-mannered, a very gentle dog, energetic at times, but why not? He's just waiting for a forever home. Maybe it'll happen today. By the way, knows all the basic commands. His name is Marty. Animal Care Control, you can make an appointment by calling 704-336-7600. 704-336-7600. They're open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Take a look once again. That's Marty, and he is our very special Tuesday morning tailwagger.
Well, speaking of dogs, a local school is seeking solutions to help ease the stress of the school day.
Coach, the therapy dog, now a regular on campus at Providence Day. As WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden shows us, he's bringing much more than just the cute factor to campus.
So this is Coach. He's actually on faculty here at Providence Day, has his own badge and everything, has the run of the school, and as you can imagine, everyone loves him. There's no question. Coach is the big dog on campus.
Are you guys ready?
Clearly the most popular faculty member at Providence Day School.
He loves it.
Because he's adorable and I like to play with him. Everybody likes him because he's like really soft, and like everybody likes to pet him.
It just brings so much joy to all the kids.
Ready? Go.
We're a very rigorous school, and he just brings a little comfort to all of us.
The Golden Retriever is a certified therapy dog who comes to school every day with his handler.
Good job.
Math teacher Ashley Liberto.
A lot of times kids in my math class, when they're working on their work, they'll sit at the front of the room and they'll just kind of pet Coach as they're doing math to kind of help them ease the stress that comes along with that.
Coach is especially popular during exam week.
Good boy! We are stationed in the library during exams, so as the kids study, they can come in and kind of just love him and get the stress off their mind.
About a week before exams, everyone's like so stressed. As we're just cranking out, no warning, it was like, who wants to see Coach? And we all raised our hands, and for like 15 minutes, we just like pet him and snuggle with him, and just completely revived us.
It's just fun.
The idea to bring Coach on campus actually started with another Golden, Liberto's other dog, Bentley.
He unfortunately had cancer, and so he had to get his front leg amputated, and I partnered with our 3D printing class to come up with a prosthetic for him. Good job! And I saw the impact that Bentley made on our community.
When Bentley passed away, Liberto had the idea to make her next dog a certified therapy dog, completed the training, and the two have been making the rounds at school since the start of the school year.
He's so proud of you. Life is hard, and dogs teach you more than just love and compassion. They teach you empathy and, how to interact with each other and just being a loving person. And so when kids see that and see how kind he is, and he doesn't matter, he doesn't judge and any of that. So he's here to kind of show that to our students, that life is hard, but ultimately love can conquer, and he's here to show that.
Coach is so popular, they're soon going to have stickers, trading cards made, even a stuffed animal that looks just like him that kids can bring home with them. Reporting in Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
He's so cute.
Great looking dog there. So much fun. I'm sure he's great for the students there.
I'm honestly not biased in this one. I've never had a Golden Retriever.
Right.
Never had one growing up, as an adult, anything like that. Always had other kinds of dogs. But there is something special about Goldens. They are just
There really is.
Their overall disposition, I mean, they're just like little angels.
And the puppies, like the little golden puppies, like
they're
magic.
Cuter. They seem to be just great animals. Maybe there's horror stories out there about like demon Golden Retrievers.
No.
I don't think so. All right, folks, 7:54 right now. We're going to take a quick break as we take a live look right now over Uptown. Coming up in just a minute, we'll have another update on the weather and that big breaking news of the morning. 485 shut down because of a gas leak. Becca's tracking it all for us. That's coming up in just a couple minutes, and we're back with the latest headlines at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC+.
Good Tuesday morning. We have some breaking traffic news out there that is impacting those Matthew drivers. Currently, I-485 is shut down in both directions at East John Street due to a gas leak. Traffic is currently being diverted off of the entry ramp on East John Street, where then you can get back on to the outer loop of I-485 as well as the inner. So this is not a complete closure, but crews will continue to repair, again, that gas leak on that bridge on 485 on East John Street. That's why they're diverting traffic again off the exit ramp back onto the entry ramp to I-485. And this is causing massive delays in both directions. Delays extending anywhere from 5 to 6 miles in both directions. Pineville Matthews Road is going to be your best alternate route. Also looking at this crash, this is Brown Greer Road being reported at the intersection of Meadow Mead Center. Chris?
Thanks a lot, Becca. I'm glad that weather at least is behaving on this chaotic traffic morning. Becca and I usually joke around that it's terrible Tuesday. Something always happens on a Tuesday in the traffic world. Today, nothing happening in the weather world. We're looking at either side of 60 degrees for our starting point. That's really nice. And then heading into the afternoon, we're anticipating highs to reach actually the lower 80s today. So about 5 degrees warmer than yesterday. Just a few more clouds, especially late morning, the early afternoon. Guy Roofing 7-day forecast shows the warmest day tomorrow. Slight chance for rain around the I-40 corridor, and then on and off showers and thunderstorms heading into your Thursday. Better chance for rain Friday and Saturday.
You are streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We are following that breaking news right now on I-85. Both directions are closed due to a gas leak in southeast Charlotte near Matthews.
Yep, WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now arriving there on scene there at 485. Destiny, bring us up to speed.
Yeah, so traffic right now is crawling on I-485 near Matthews this morning. We're standing over I-485 outer loop on Pleasant Plains Road, and we can get a look at the traffic that is at a standstill pretty much. It's kind of been crawling here and there, but for the most part, traffic is stopped because of gas leak repairs going on East John Street at I-485. We do know that you can obviously go onto I-485, but you can't exit at East John Street. But right now, traffic is being diverted onto the East John Street ramp and then right back onto I-485 from the other side. So if you are coming into Matthews from the west, just be aware on the outer loop, you'll be running into this traffic situation. And then if you're coming from the other side on the inner loop, you'll be dealing with it there, basically on both sides of East John Street this morning. And they say this is being done to keep drivers from crossing over the bridge while those repairs are being made. So you'll definitely want to try to find find an alternate route where you do not have to take I-45 if you are coming through Matthews or coming into Matthews this morning. Of course, I'll send it back to you guys while we continue to monitor the situation on I-485.
Destiny, you always got that one person. You've got all those people sitting in line, and that one person going up the shoulder, trying to go past it. I hope everybody stays safe there. All right, let's bring in Becca. What's the update as far as detours?
Yeah, just a nightmare situation out there for that morning rush hour commute. I want to get to those significant heavy delays that continue to grow due to this gas leak. And you could, of course, see them from Destiny's live shot as she was saying. That is basically stop and go crawling traffic in each direction, extending now 5 to about 6 miles of delays. And it is crawling due to traffic being diverted again off of East John Street. Best alternate route workaround right now, and we'll still add several extra minutes to that morning commute, would be to utilize Pineville Matthews Road to get around this. So again, I-485 currently partially closed in both directions at East John Street. And what that means is the gas leak is on East John Street, but they're diverting traffic off of that I-485 bridge that goes over East John Street. So they are diverting traffic off the exit ramp to get back onto the entry ramp to get on to I-485 once again. Again, they are doing that in both directions. We did get an update from NCDOT saying that they do expect the road to eventually reopen around lunchtime. That is about 4 hours from now. Big picture, we've got a stretch of red pretty much everywhere you look, especially 77 northbound heading from York County inbound into uptown Charlotte. Also Gastonia running slow on I-85 northbound as well. Live look outside, this is I-77 at West Boulevard just before you hit the John Belk Freeway. Of course, also crawling there. Thankfully, we've got lots of sun. Meteorologist Chris Mulcahy has an update on the latest forecast.
Thanks a lot, Becca, as always. And sorry that everything is just breaking loose in the traffic world. But as Becca said, look at this. We have 4 different examples about how beautiful it is to start off the day. We have a few more clouds and it's 5 degrees warmer. That's not a big deal. We do have increasing rain chances day by day, though. So if you have any weekend plans, I think there's a lot that can still change from here until about Friday and Saturday. But right now, it does look like there's a chance for scattered rain on Friday. And then on Saturday, it looks like the afternoon is the best potential. But we'll see how that all works out. And I'll explain a little bit more detail coming up here shortly. But 61 degrees. Yeah, 61, that's the starting point right now here in Charlotte. 54 in Lincolnton. Lincolnton's a little bit more valley-like, so you often see a cooler temperature there. And hour-by-hour forecast for tomorrow, we do see a change that there's the slightest chance for rain in the mid 80s, but today we're looking at the lower 80s. So lower 80s around Charlotte, 81 for you in Hickory, and then 77 in Boone. That's delightful. Actually feeling a little bit more May-like ahead of the last days of April. Overnight tonight, 63 degrees. Many of us dropped down into the 50s this morning, 40s up in the high country. Well, we have the 50s and the 60s instead. So either side of 60 is our starting point tomorrow. We usually hit our low for the day right around sunrise, and sunrise time is about 6:34, 6:33 tomorrow, and then we barely have a wind chill just because it's so warm. But then here's the increasing rain chances I was talking about. 20% chance for your Wednesday and Thursday, but then Friday and Saturday really starting to separate themselves, and that's because this front starts to edge its way a little bit closer to home. It's within this area, so this warm front, that's the reason why we're so warm, jetting up to the mid to the upper 80s the middle of this week through Friday. It's this warm sector, as it's called, that has a little bit extra moisture. That moisture content is going to be fueling more showers and storms, so that's something that we're always going to be keeping an eye on. So the way things are shaping up right now, it's first going to trigger some showers and storms heading into late day on Thursday into Thursday evening. Your Friday, as this front sets itself over Tennessee, we have a better chance for a more wider spread coverage heading into Friday, but it's not a guarantee. It's really not until this front is absolutely passing the Carolinas that we have our most active activity that's associated with this front. Now, right now, the timing looks like this front is going to arrive right in the middle of the afternoon to evening. It's that front edge that's going to be the heaviest. You can see it right here. Might have to adjust the time, but a lot of models are indicating that this happens a little bit earlier in the afternoon. That's still going to affect the early on for for the Love and Life Festival. But then at 7 o'clock, we have Ludacris. By about 8 o'clock, I believe Pitbull is going to be performing. So it's going to be a big night, but I think that we do have some good news that the front should clear just in time. I'm going to stay optimistic. And as for our futurecast, you can see that on and off rain, but here's the silver lining. Sunday looking picture perfect, actually near perfect conditions. Here, I'll show it to you on our Guy Roofing 70 forecast. The top, Wednesday, 87 degrees, back to the 70s this weekend. Rain clearing by Saturday evening with nothing but sunshine for a perfect end to your weekend.
All right, thanks so much, Chris. Well, right now we have an update on that Amber Alert out of eastern North Carolina this morning. Just moments ago, we learned the alert for a 1-year-old girl and her mother has been canceled. Police say the two disappeared after 3 armed suspects broke into their home in Garner and demanded $1 million. It's not clear yet how or where those victims were found.
Today marks 1 year since the deadly officer ambush in East Charlotte. 4 law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty when a heavily armed gunman shot them outside his home.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live outside that home this morning. And Richard, you talked to neighbors about that fateful day.
Yeah, they say that this is a day that they so soon won't forget. It happened right out here. That's where some of those officers originally were trying to serve an arrest warrant on that suspect when he started shooting, and that's when chaos broke out. This house has been empty since then. Of course, some neighbors telling us they would hope that it would remain that way. It's been 1 year since tragedy struck here on Galway Street. We're here in East Charlotte. 4 law enforcement officers died in the line of duty. 12 months to the day, this community is still reeling, still healing, still remembering. They still remember that day vividly. They say police everywhere, guns drawn, fear of not knowing what was going on, and then finding out the grim reality of learning that 4 brave men had lost their lives, 4 others wounded. They knew nothing would ever be the same in this neighborhood. The pain remains fresh, so does the unity that they gained. Residents say the tragedy created lasting bonds and a renewed commitment to supporting first responders and to supporting each other. Since that tragedy, some have put up memorials, they've held prayer vigils at nearby parks, others have found strength and remembrances, and they found resilience in each other.
I thought maybe they would have made it some type of memorial for the fallen officers, but really, honestly, I don't see nobody living in that house. But, you know, just a sad situation.
I just pray, meditate, and think about the families, and hopefully the prayers bring positive results and energy to them. I know it's hard for them. It can't be easy.
And she, like so many others, say her thoughts and prayers are with the families of those fallen officers, not just on anniversaries and days like today, but every day. We're right here in East Charlotte. It's Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
A lot of people still healing from that. All right, Richard, thank you so much for that report. We should also add that we will be airing a special at 5:30 tonight, taking a look back at that day, what has changed since, the questions we still have, and remembering those officers. That's going to be streaming right here on WCNC+. All right, switching gears now. Mecklenburg County Democrats have a new person in charge this morning. Wesley Harris was elected party chair this past weekend.
That's right. It comes after intense scrutiny over campaign spending during the 2024 election. In fact, the WCNC Charlotte investigation found local Democrats spent more than $100,000 just on an election night party, which was more than twice the cost of what they typically raise over an entire election cycle. Our Nate Morabito spoke to Harris at the time before he was elected party chair.
I think the last election cycle, I think our county party raised maybe $50,000, if that. And so the fact that we spent more than that on a watch party is upsetting, to say the least.
Joining us now live to talk more is Wesley Harris. Wesley, good to talk to you again, and congrats on the new position. First up, your predecessor at the time defended his work, saying that the party raised record cash on a local level and reached out to more voters than ever before. So why do you think you were elected instead?
I was elected because the results didn't bear that out. Mecklenburg once again lagged behind the state in terms of turnout, and there was just a lot of turmoil within the party and a lot of division within the party. That's to be expected even in the best times. But when you couple that with a very rough election cycle, while we had some bright spots on the statewide level, but North Carolina going once again for Donald Trump and our turnout lagging significantly in Mecklenburg County once again, it just kind of boiled everything to the surface, where they said, if we're going to move forward and rebuild the trust in our party, we're going to have new leadership. And that was really the sense I got from the vast majority of the delegates that voted in the convention this weekend was, we've done some good things over the past 2 years, but we just need that new leadership to give us a reboot so that we can tackle this critically important midterm election coming up in 2026 with our best foot forward.
And you mentioned some of the division within the party. Members of the African American caucus of Mecklenburg County have told us here at WCNC Charlotte that they felt disrespected by the former chair. How do you work to repair those relationships?
And that's the key issue. We have to show up in the community. We have to engage with the community and the stakeholders and the leaders within that community. And I think that's something that we haven't particularly been great at, because when you look at Mecklenburg County, we are an exceptionally diverse county, probably the most diverse county in the entire state. And when you look at kind of the role of the Democratic Party, there's two things. Really, it's just to elect Democrats. And on the local level, if you want to elect more Democrats, the focus is usually on the suburbs, which are typically wider and are typically more wealthy. And so focusing on those areas takes attention away from our base voters in the Crescent, mostly our African American voters, our more minority voters, our Hispanic voters. And so a lot of them feel like we haven't really focused on them as much, chasing that shiny object of trying to flip these suburban seats. But on a statewide level, when you're looking at statewide races, every single vote in Mecklenburg County matters, and we have to get our key demographics out, our key voters out in all parts of the county. And so to do that, you have to have a presence in every single corner of Charlotte, every single corner of Mecklenburg County, showing people what Democrats stand for, how they're fighting for their communities, how they're standing up for them. And that's all about building relationships. It's all about showing up, it's talking to folks. And that is really going to be our critical focus over these next 2 years, to just be everywhere and show people we're not there for your votes. We're there for you. We're there for the community. We're going to show you that Democrats are the party that believes in you. We believe in investing in our communities. We believe in providing opportunities to everyone. And I think if we start doing that, we can build back that trust. We can build back those relationships. And I think the electoral results are going to show that.
Mecklenburg highlighted as one of the most important counties in the entire country in last year's election. But as you mentioned, like 2020, turnout here was disappointing to national Democrats. Some going as far as to say Mecklenburg County Democrats were responsible for losing North Carolina 2 election terms in a row. Was that fair?
In a way, but then not really. I mean, while there's over 300,000 Democrats in North Carolina, again, it's not like, if you compare North Carolina to, say, Georgia, Atlanta is 60% of Georgia. And so how Atlanta goes, Georgia goes. North Carolina is much different. We have more rural voters than any state other than Texas. And while Atlanta is 60% of Georgia, you add up our top 8 counties. Buncombe County, Mecklenburg County, Forsyth, where Winston is, Guilford, where Greensboro is, Durham, Wake, Cumberland County, where Fayetteville is, New Hanover County, all those together, it's only 40% of our state. And so while Charlotte is critical, if we don't get our turnout up, it's going to be very hard for Democrats to win statewide. It's not the entire margin. Because I think, Kamala lost by about 250,000 votes, give or take, in North Carolina. And so you can't make that up just in Mecklenburg County, even if we had just sky high turnout. But it is a critical piece. If we do not do our job in Mecklenburg, it makes it so much harder on the state. And really, you saw that. We had 5 Democrats elected statewide in North Carolina. In order for that to happen, they had to outspend their opponents 3-1 and run against some of the worst candidates to ever seek public office, if we're being honest. And so that shows you that Democrats can win if we have a good message, if we have money, especially for running against bad candidates. But it also shows that if our party actually does its job, gets up our floor, gets out our base voters, then we can really transform what statewide races look like in North Carolina and trend our state much more in a solidly blue direction.
So we know that North Carolina is a swing state. So for Democrats to win North Carolina, is it more on the Democratic Party backing the candidate, or is it just choosing the candidates, the right candidates for the Democratic Party to win?
It's a little bit of both. I think one of the problems that we have is when you nationalize things, the message gets drowned out. And like I said, North Carolina is a very geographically diverse state. We're a very economically diverse state. And so two things really have to happen for Democrats to really be able to take control in North Carolina. We have to, A, get out our base voters more in our heavy urban centers, but then we also need to expand the map. And those require a couple things. Those require the right kind of candidate who can have that North Carolina message. North Carolina has always had a history of those populist roots going back to the early 20th century of, we were a leader in public education in this country. We transformed our state they used to call us the Rip Van Winkle state. We were the state that fell asleep and couldn't wake up again. But visionary Democratic governors invested in our people, invested in our infrastructure, and transformed our state to what we have today in a leader in finance, and a leader in healthcare, and a leader in education. And so we have the track record to show people what Democrats have done for North Carolina. We just have to go out there and show people that and tell people that, particularly looking at what's happened in the General Assembly the past couple of years and this fiscal cliff that we're approaching on of not able to make those investments due to Republican leadership. And so it's finding the right kind of candidate who can go out and make those messages, make that economic message to the urban parts of North Carolina, the rural parts of North Carolina, the coast, the mountains. But then here in Mecklenburg County, we got to get our base voters out. We are a Democratic county. We have a supermajority on the city council. We've swept the county commission. And so we run the show here. And so we got to go out and show people why us running the show is benefiting their lives, why it's better to live in Mecklenburg County than Union County, than Gaston County, than Iredell County. We got to show how we are delivering for the voters and give them the receipts so they will come back and support us, and more often, and most importantly, come out and vote for us.
You mentioned the local races, and in fact, yes, we have a midterm next year, but we have city races this fall. So I want to get you on the record and put you on the spot on a few of these. Do you support the transit plan referendum coming up?
We'll have to see what the final version looks like. I know the House has one version and the Senate has one version, but the future of Charlotte's growth and Mecklenburg County growth and our entire regional growth is going to depend on having investment in transit. And what that final plan looks like, I think we are going to have to make those investments, because that is one of the only ways we're going to be able to handle our growth. Because if we want affordable housing, we're going to need to build more. And if we're going to build more, we need to show people that we're going to have the infrastructure so that traffic doesn't go crazy, so that people's daily lives aren't going to get impacted by that. And one of the best ways to do that is having a reliable transit plan that people can believe in. And so I think it is absolutely critical that we invest in this transit. And I hope that I know our city elected officials and our state elected officials are working with the Republican General Assembly leaders to make sure that we have a fair plan for Mecklenburg County. But we got to make sure that those investments are going in the areas we want them to go to. But I fully agree that we need to make these investments in transit. We just got to make sure the plan is something that works for not only Charlotte, but the entire region.
All right, very quickly, we know that Tark Bakari's District 6 seat is open now in Charlotte. Democrats have been close to getting this one. Who do you plan to run? Can you tell us that?
I don't know that yet. We haven't even had filing, haven't even had a primary. And so it's certainly going to be a big target. Like I said, it's one where our state legislative districts in that area are consistently blue. The presidential results are consistently blue in that area, and municipals, we haven't been able to get over the finish line. But we are talking to a handful of folks, and I look forward for us running a really great candidate and hopefully being able to get that seat this November.
Stephanie Hand just got a few hundred votes away from it just a few years ago. You expect the mayor to run again?
I don't know. I've had a few conversations with her. She's keeping it pretty close to her chest. But I'd assume that decision will probably be coming fairly shortly. So we will see. No inside information from me. I'm sorry to say.
That's fair. Still fresh in the job. All right, Wesley Harris, new chair of the Mecklenburg County Democrats, former state lawmaker as well. Wesley, thanks for coming on. Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great to talk to y'all.
All right, let's check in with Becca now for an update. Things getting any better on 485?
They have only gotten worse since that last update about 10-15 minutes ago. In fact, this is a live view showing bumper-to-bumper traffic, and this is impacting I-485 again in the Matthews area, and it is currently closed at East John Street. Not completely closed across the area, but this gives you an idea of what you're going to be driving in. This is an area that you will definitely want to avoid. This is all due to a gas leak that was being reported on East John Street early on this morning. And if we do go ahead and switch to the graphics, I'll show you what it's doing to traffic. So right now, Matthews Police Department is diverting traffic off of the exit ramp on East John Street, and then they're allowing drivers to get back onto the to I-45, both inner and outer, using the entry ramp. And again, this is all to avoid getting on that East John Street bridge over I-485. Right now, this is where the incident is. You can see that stretch of red, just significant heavy delays in both directions. One of those mornings to turn on a good podcast or playlist, is this going to be adding many extra minutes to that morning commute. Again, traffic being diverted off on East Street, which is why those backups continue to grow, especially as we get closer to that 8:30 hour. Best alternate route right now would be to take Pineville-Vasquez Road, but keep in mind that is also congested as well. Big picture, 77 northbound still slow over in South Charlotte, as well as 85 northbound coming from Gastonia inbound into Mecklenburg County. And as we take a live look outside, this is I-77 at Sanford Road. Traffic also pretty slow, especially in those northbound lanes. Very typical for this time of day in the Huntersville area. Drive safe, y'all.
All right, Becca, thanks so much. Well, proof this morning that our own Larry Sprinkle is known just about everywhere.
In fact, he made a special appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Last night, Fallon added a little humor to who could be the next pope. It won't be Larry, despite the rumors. But take a look at who was mentioned.
No, Jimmy. There could be an Italian pope named Pizza Balla. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. That's like if the president of Nintendo was named like Doug Bowser.
Turkey, I want to see this clip.
We are now joined by Doug Bowser, president of Nintendo of America.
What? You gotta be kidding me. Well, that's like if there was a chef named like Tom Kitchen.
Hi guys, it's Tom Kitchen here in my restaurant, The Kitchen in Edinburgh.
What? That's like if there was a weatherman named like Larry Sprinkle.
Every day you rely on Larry Sprinkle for your forecast as you head out the door.
What?
I know, but there's a limit. It's not like there's a guy named Paul Paulos in the St. Paul Police Department.
Chief of Police Paul Paulos of St. Paul.
All right, moving on. Thank you, Tariq Trotter, everybody.
That's fantastic.
Thank you, Jimmy Fallon.
3 watts for Larry Sprinkle. Yeah. So cool.
One of those crazy weather. There's so many. There's Dallas Raines who does weather. There's Amy Freeze.
Yes.
There's Ken Weathers over in Knoxville. There's a number of names like that. But thank you, Jimmy Fallon, for you got my email. Thank you very much.
Who sings that? I've got friends in high places.
Yeah.
Is that Kenny Rogers or somebody?
Garth Brooks sang low places.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, is that what it is?
I got a couple friends in high places. I'm next to them.
I was going to say that's what you are. I just got the song wrong, but that's who you are.
The crazy thing is, I never told you guys, my actual name is Ben Newsman.
Oh.
Ben Newsman.
I changed it to Thompson. Now I wish I did. You know, how embarrassed I am.
You know, people always say that can't be your real name. And it's I'm going to get a T-shirt that says that. Amy Freeze, who has a podcast, she's doing a whole feature on these names.
Yes.
She's with Fox Weather now, I
She used to be. She's doing podcasts now, and that's coming up. It's on YouTube. You can find it on there at some point. I talked to her a couple weeks ago about this. But just among those weather names out there, but good to be featured on Fallon.
I love it.
Larry Sprinkle.
Yeah, that's right. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break as we take a live look right now over Uptown. Coming up in just a minute, Chris is going to have a check of your forecast. And Becca, once again, on that breaking news, 45 in the southern part of the city shut down because of a gas leak. The latest on that coming up in just 1 minute right here on WCNC Plus.
Good Tuesday morning. I am following a breaking news due to a traffic mess all across the area. You can see that is I-485 that is shut down in both directions due to a gas leak that was previously reported on East John Street, and it is basically a parking lot out there. Now, right now, Matthews Police Department is diverting traffic off of I-485 on the exit ramp to John Street, where they are diverting traffic to get back on. And this is all due to, again, that gas leak that happened around 5 o'clock this morning. A big stretch of delays in both directions. You'll definitely want to avoid this area. Again, this is where traffic is being diverted off of East John Street, all due to avoid traffic being on that bridge over East John Street while crews continue to work on this. They do expect this road to reopen by around lunchtime. Chris?
Thanks a lot, Becca. Here's what's going on around town. We have either side of 60 degrees, a delightful morning. We have some upper level clouds. That's all you have to deal with. And then we're also looking at temperatures that are reaching the mid to the upper 70s right around lunchtime to begin the afternoon. Not too bad. And we will have highs right around 82 degrees for the afternoon today. 77 up in Boone. So no complaints, about 5 degrees warmer than what we had yesterday. Your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. It's even warmer by tomorrow, closer to 90 degrees than 80. 87 degrees with some of us close to that 90-degree point southeast of Charlotte. There's the slightest chance for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm mainly around the I-40 corridor, and then Charlotte will have its turn late day Thursday heading to sunset on Thursday. Better chance for scattered rain on Friday evening, and then another one on Saturday as we cool down through the weekend.
Streaming live right now at 8:30 here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We are following that breaking news on I-485. Both directions closed due to a gas leak in southeast Charlotte. This is near Matthews.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is on the scene right now overlooking the situation. Destiny, what can you tell us?
Yeah, it continues to be a headache of a traffic jam this morning on I-485. We're standing on the bridge on Pleasant Plains Road. Traffic is getting kind of backed up here just on this side road in Matthews. So that tells you the residual effects of this traffic jam this morning. We're about a mile away from the John Street exit, the East John Street exit, which is closed right now. They're just diverting traffic, as Becca has been saying this morning, just to help people get around that. They want to have drivers avoid the bridge while they continue to work on this gas leak, so you'll be able to get back on I-485 on the other side of East John Street. So this is affecting the outer loop here about west of Matthews, a little bit west, and then also on the east side, the inner loop is being affected this morning, and it's having residual effects like we've been saying on some of the side streets here in Matthews. If you just open your map on your phone, you can really see it, as well as some roads to get into the Charlotte area as well. So I know Becca's been talking about detours, so I'll send it back to you guys for now, but just plan on either dealing with this mess or hopefully getting an alternate way to get around Matthews.
A great reason to be here on WCNC Plus to get those live pictures. All right, Destiny, thank you for that. Let's send things over now to Becca because I know a lot of people are going to be looking for a way around that mess.
That's right, Ben and Lisa. Those live images that Destiny Richards was showing, that is basically a scene of taillights and very little movement. Again, this is impacting both inner and outer loop of I-485, but this is likely the inner loop as you approach East John Street. Now, what is happening is Matthews Police Department is likely reducing this down to 1, maybe even 2 lanes as traffic is being diverted off to East John Street, then back on to East John Street as they continue to push across the outer loop of I-485. But do want to go ahead and get to my graphics if we can go ahead and switch so I can show you that best alternate route. Okay, so here's the picture. East John Street, that is where the gas leak was happening, and they want traffic being diverted off of the bridge on I-485 so crews can repair that gas leak. Again, that is why these backups have been relentless as traffic is being diverted likely onto 1 lane of traffic as it continues to push off to I-485. Best alternate route right now would be to take Pineville Matthews Road, but you will notice there's a stretch of red, orange, and yellow indicating lots of delays on this alternate route as well. So if you could avoid the area, that would definitely be my recommendation as they do expect this to reopen by around noon. John Street is also blocked from Park Square Place all the way to McGee Road, so you will not be able to utilize that as well. A good alternate route for that one would be to utilize Tanktown Road, which turns into East Charles Street, or you could also use Matthews Mint Hill Road that is currently all in the green. Zooming out, big picture, this is not the only incident we have across the Charlotte area. There is congestion pretty much everywhere you look, especially on the major interstates and highways, so you allow yourself plenty of extra time as you head outdoors this morning. A live look outside from I-77 at Samford Road. Thankfully, the weather department is looking a lot better than the traffic department. I'll turn it over to meteorologist Chris Mulcahy.
Well, Becca, at least you ended on a good note, right? And that looks lovely. 61 degrees, as Becca just mentioned. Thank you for the setup. And a beautiful sky. Look at that. Carolina blues, we got them. Some upper level clouds that we're dealing with as well. It's going to be a delightful day. If you loved yesterday, I think you're going to love today as well. Mr. Spark, Carolina Camera Network, saw the cameras that we show you, and everything's just fine and dandy. We warmed up big time in Lincolnton, about 5 degrees over the last hour, 61 in Charlotte. And we'll have a new temperature update at the end of the hour, likely getting us up in the lower to the mid 60s. Check it out, your out the door forecast as you swing out the door wherever you're going. Temperature should be around 70 degrees a couple hours from now, around 10. And then 75 near perfection by noon. But I think we're anticipating a few more clouds at this point. Say if you're going out in the boat, you don't have to work. Well, lucky you. That'd be awesome. I actually checked the water temperatures. There's a cool site that I have that monitors the water temperatures at Lake Norman and Lake Wiley. The current temperatures yesterday ranged from about 70 to 75, so that might be cool for some of you. And it usually gets into the 80s for our water temperatures during the summertime. Lower 80s for our actual air temperature, though, if you are going out in the boat or doing anything for the afternoon. And then we do have more clouds, I think, late morning, early afternoon. You've seen this little cloud deck here. It starts to break up through the afternoon. That's not a big deal. I'm just letting you know that it's one of those days that you have, hey, look at that beautiful blue sky. Oh, it kind of turned cloudy and now it's sunny again. That could be the case for some of us, or really an overall average partly cloudy day. Now, the mountain forecast, I want to show you this specifically. One, of course, is always a little bit cooler, but notice the bottom line. Today, this is a spotty rain chance. I don't think you see anything. Isolated by Wednesday, but it comes scattered Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, where rain chances are the highest the higher you go up in elevation as our next system starts to swing in. Meanwhile, for the Charlotte area, you don't really have an increased rain chance until about Friday and Saturday. And what isolated means is that only about 20% of the greater Charlotte area could see a passing shower. This time on Wednesday, I think it's close to I-40. And then once you end the day on Friday and then the afternoon on Saturday, I think that's the best setup for more widespread rain. And here, let me show you. Most of your day on Wednesday, we're dry, but then we do have a nearby front to the north that starts to trigger a few showers and storms north of I-40. So Taylorsville, I'm seeing the most activity around you. Now, you've got to take some of this with a grain of salt. It's really about the timing. But you can see from the mountains to Taylorsville, to the northern part of Iredell County, best chance for rain. These should be fairly slow movers. That's late afternoon Wednesday, heading into about the middle of the evening after the sun sets on Wednesday. Now, Thursday, we're dry in the morning, but we see our first signs of rain. At worst, I think you're going to see more of a cloudy sky and even a darker cloud. And then we will actually see some rain developing about the middle of the afternoon to around the evening commute. Just depends on where some of the heavier cells are setting up. And these will start to die out hour by hour as we venture towards sunset and beyond. And then Friday, well, I think most of the day, again, is going to stay dry because it's all feeding off of that daytime heating, the moisture rising up, turning into some showers and storms. But if a front passes during the middle of the afternoon, that creates the most widespread, at least, rain to thunderstorm activity, and I think that happens on Saturday. Now, the timing of this front's all over the place. If it arrives a little bit earlier, I don't think you really see much going on, and then you're fine for any concert thing that you're doing later in the day. Now, if this arrives right in the middle of the afternoon to evening, we're talking about a line of showers and storms. So there's still a lot of question marks here. This model right here showing a wet start to Love and Life, and then it should be clearing out by some of the final acts. So Pitbull right on the cusp around 8 o'clock, and also we have Kendrick in town with SZA. That is at 7 o'clock. There's going to be a chance that there could be rain around there. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, especially for those concert goers. Regardless, at some point during your Saturday evening, that front is getting out of here. I'm hoping it's a little bit earlier than later, and that sets us up for a wonderful end of the weekend. Mid-70s, sunshine, just like last Sunday. Picture-perfect end of the weekend. And hey, no case of the Mondays again next Monday.
8:37 right now here on WCNC Plus. A former CMS teaching assistant expected to be in court this morning. 26-year-old Javon Little is accused of recording himself having sex with a 17-year-old girl. Little most recently worked at West Meck High School, but resigned last year. Not clear when the alleged incident took place. He was released on a $100,000 bond. This morning, Charlotte City leaders working and weighing how to fill Tarek Bakari's now vacant seat.
He resigned earlier this month for a transit position in the Trump administration. WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kay breaks down what could come next for the seat and what it means for the future of Charlotte's transit.
It has been the honor of a lifetime.
After 7 years of service to Charlotte City Council, Tarek Bakari is off to join the Trump administration.
Have accepted the position of Deputy Administrator of the FTA.
In his new role, he becomes one of the most powerful people in Trump's Department of Transportation. Filling his old role is a job in itself.
Because effectively, we have a district that does not have a district rep around.
Monday night, Charlotte City Council decided on an expedited plan that would swear in a temporary replacement on June 2nd. However, some members want applicants to say they will not run in November because of the leg up it would give them.
Hopefully that we will select a caretaker that will not run and make that pledge not to run. And if that person breaks their word, it speaks to character.
At his last town hall earlier this month, Bakari endorsed his wife, Krista Bakari, to fill the seat. She ran for a House seat in November, but lost to Representative Brandon Lofton. No matter who it is, Bakari says he hopes they will keep tackling his two biggest concerns, public safety and infrastructure.
District 6 pays over 25% of the property tax basis that funds this entire city. Yet over my last 8 years, we got less than 2% of infrastructure capital spend back.
Charlotte's biggest upcoming task, approving the red line. The General Assembly would need to pass a bill for Mecklenburg County to put a 1-cent sales tax increase on the ballot. Senator Vicki Sawyer from Iredell County filed that bill, but it hasn't moved forward yet. It's a project Bakari has supported, and his new influence at the White House could be the push lawmakers need to support it too.
We spoke to Matthew Ridenour. He's a former Republican Mecklenburg County Commissioner who represented a lot of the same area there in South Park. He says this seat could now be won by either side in November and expects the Democrats to make a big push for it.
Happening today, Union County is holding a job fair. You can meet with dozens of employers from throughout the county to explore opportunities and network. It starts this morning at 9:30 at the Union County Agricultural and Conference Center.
According to the Sports and Fitness Industry Association, pickleball participation has grown 300% in the last 3 years.
Now, one local organization is making it more accessible to everyone. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris joins us live this morning with more on the impact of Black Pickleball and Company. The last time we saw you, Miles, I believe you were getting ready for a game. Is that right?
Right. That's right.
Yeah, Lisa, Ben, you guys kind of spoke this into existence. So we got to talk about how popular and really how fast growing this sport is. But again, you guys mentioned it here. Pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports in the country. And what Black Pickleball and Company is doing is they are taking the wave from that sport and they are serving Black communities both on and off the courts throughout Charlotte. Since 2023, Black Pickleball and Company has evolved into a major network hub for Charlotte's Black community.
Black Pickleball and Company is a community-based organization that teaches pickleball financial literacy to underrepresented communities.
Kayla Brooks is the president and founder for the nonprofit and says what sparked the idea was the intention to provide connections and opportunities for cross-class connections through the sport.
And so we wanted to make sure that people who are Black, African American, underrepresented, that they have the opportunity to be able to engage in such business deals, networking opportunities through playing the sport of pickleball.
Similar to the sport, their impact is taking off, seeing hundreds attend their events, building more than pickleball players, but a playing court for all to enjoy.
My heart is full that they have been a part of our mission to enable them to learn the game.
Ben and Lisa, they are playing all throughout Charlotte as well. So if you were curious where they're playing at, I mean, they are playing at Lob City, they are playing at Tipsy Pickle, and they're even playing at places like here at Raleigh in Southeast Charlotte. Now, for more information as far as where they are, maybe finding out some of those events as well, you can actually find that by downloading our WCNC Charlotte mobile app, clicking on this store, I'm moving a little bit, and getting all that information and more. Guys, I'm working up a bit of a sweat right now, but definitely can understand why this is one of the fastest growing sports in the country. Ben and Lisa.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's not only a reporter, but he can play, he can talk, he can do it all at the same time.
Did you see the backhand?
Yes.
Okay, Miles.
And I think we had to talk him into doing it.
Listen, look, hidden secret. I played college tennis, so this is like second nature. I'm having a blast right now, but I'm sweating now, so I need a break. So.
Well done.
Of course. All right, Miles. Gold star for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Love it.
All right. Well, we are going to head to Washington now because happening right now, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt just started a briefing with the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. This is about the economy. This comes, of course, on the president's 100th day in office. Let's listen in now.
Are pouring in under this president. So far, total investment commitments under the Trump administration have reached more than $5 trillion, including $500 billion from Apple in U.S.-based manufacturing and training, $500 billion from NVIDIA and AI infrastructure, $100 billion from TSMC and U.S.-based chips manufacturing, and the $500 billion private investment by OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank in AI infrastructure as well. All of these investment commitments are estimated to generate at least 451,000 new high-paying jobs for American workers and families. At this point, President Trump has secured more investments in the United States of America in 100 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years. President Trump is America's businessman in chief, and that's why these trillions of dollars in investments are flooding to our country. The business community is bullish on America because President Trump is back in charge. Tomorrow, the president will host CEOs and leaders from several companies that have made these investments to tout their historic commitments to our country and encourage others to follow suit. Under President Trump, there has never been a better time to invest in America. And the president finally said enough is enough and refused to allow America and our workers to be ripped off any longer on trade. President Trump implemented powerful tariffs to end the era of economic surrender and to rebalance America's trading agreements. More than 100 countries have already come to the table looking to offer more favorable terms for America and our people. There has never been a president who has created his own leverage like this president, and we are just getting started. Republicans in Congress are getting very close to passing President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, which will include the largest tax cuts in American history, strong border security measures, major military advancements, dramatic deregulation, and common sense spending reforms. As President Trump has said before, the best is yet to come. For more on President Trump's economic successes so far and the plans ahead, I want to pass it off to our incredible Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who is here today, and we will open it up to questions. In our new media seat, we have Brendan Peterson, the financial services reporter for Punchbowl News. Punchbowl News covers power, people, and politics based in Washington, D.C., laser focus on Capitol Hill, the politics of legislating, founded in 2021, and it is the first newsletter that Capitol Hill and the White House reads every morning in the middle of the day and throughout the evening. Thanks for being here with us, and we'll start with you today.
Thanks so much for being here. I have a question for Secretary Bessent. On tariffs, the president said over the weekend that we are hoping that maybe tariff revenues could replace income tax. But we also keep hearing about the deals that the administration is pursuing. So my question is, what is the White House's ultimate objective here? Do you want to have long-term tariff revenue or deals that might reduce those tariffs?
I think it's a combination of both. So we're going to take in long-term tariff revenue. We put a process in place. We have 18 important trading relationships. We will be speaking to all of those partners, or at least 17 of them, over the next few weeks. Many of them have already come to Washington. What President Trump is referring to is the ability for tariff revenue to give income tax relief. And I think there's a very good chance that we will see this in the upcoming tax bill. The president campaigned on no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, and the restoring interest deductibility for autos, for American-made autos. So tariff income could be used for tax relief on all those immediately.
So you think that there is a role for significant tariff revenue in U.S. fiscal policy?
I think that it is something that got put away a long time ago, and I think that tariffs will bring back American manufacturing and generate substantial revenues.
On manufacturing, we've seen some pretty grisly surveys this month from the Philly Fed, which saw the biggest drop since May of 2020, and the Dallas Fed, similar plunging outlook, poor shipping orders. What are American manufacturers not understanding about your push for onshoring in the U.S.?
Well, I think I was in the investment business 35 years, and I learned to ignore the survey data and look at the actual data, and the actual data has been quite good. The job data is good. Americans keep spending, and as Caroline said, we have these incredible commitments to bring manufacturing back on shore with record investment by domestic corporations and foreigners who want to come into the U.S.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The Chinese continue to say that the U.S. and China are not engaged in any consultation or negotiation on tariffs. You recently said you've talked to your counterpart, but more about, quote, traditional things like financial stability. So can you clarify, is the administration talking to Beijing specifically about tariffs or not?
Well, we're not going to talk about who's talking to whom, but I think that, over time we will see that the Chinese tariffs are unsustainable for China. I've seen some very large numbers over the past few days that show if these numbers stay on, Chinese could lose 10 million jobs very quickly, and even if there is a drop in the tariffs, that they could lose 5 million jobs. So remember that we are the deficit country. They sell almost 5 times more goods to us than we sell to them. So the onus will be on them to take off these tariffs. They're unsustainable for them.
And they are saying you guys are not talking about it. So is that true?
Look, they have a different form of government. They're playing to a different audience. So I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty, again, of who's talking to whom. But as I said, I believe for the Chinese, these tariffs are unsustainable.
And very quickly, 2 days ago, you said you didn't know if President Trump had spoken to Xi Jinping. Do you know now?
Again, I would say Caroline and I have a lot of jobs around the White House. Running the switchboard isn't one of them.
Bloomberg, go ahead.
Secretary Bessent, thank you so much for being here this morning. You've talked about the importance of giving investors certainty
when it comes to the market. Yet the Trump administration is continuing to negotiate several complex trade deals in a very sort of compressed time frame. When do you expect you'll be able to give the market some certainty around those deals? Do you have a deadline? Is it the 90-day pause? What are we looking at here?
Good question. And I think one thing that has been a little disconcerting for the markets is, President Trump creates what I would call strategic uncertainty in the negotiations. So he is more concerned about getting the best possible trade deals for the American people. We had 4 years of bad deals for decades of unfair trading, and we are going to unwind those and make them fair. What we are doing is we've created a process. I think the aperture of uncertainty will be narrowing, and as we start moving forward announcing deals, then there will be certainty. But certainty is not necessarily a good thing in negotiating.
Mr. Secretary, last night there were reports on the administration sort of walking back a little bit on the auto tariffs. Can you sort of just elaborate on that decision there and what we can expect going forward, and why sort of the shift in those auto tariffs?
Well, President Trump has had meetings with both domestic and foreign auto producers, and he's committed to bringing back auto production to the U.S. So we want to give the automakers a path to do that quickly, efficiently, and create as many jobs as possible.
Jasmine. Thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you, Secretary. Back on China, does the administration anticipate supply chain shocks or supply shocks coming now that cargo shipments from China are significantly down? And if so, are there plans in the process of how to address that?
I wouldn't think that we would have supply chain shocks, and I think retailers have managed their inventory in front of this. I speak to dozens of companies, sometimes daily, but definitely weekly, and they know that President Trump is committed to fair trade.
And we have been listening to Scott Peston, the Treasury Secretary there, fielding some questions. This, of course, comes as the president marks 100 days in office. A number of questions about the economy and talks, of course, about the tariffs.
Let's go ahead and get another check of that breaking news of the morning. Traffic on 45 backed up for miles. What's the latest, Becca?
Well, rush hour traffic is coming to an end, but those backups have not let up all morning long. Now, this is what I'm tracking. I've been tracking it since around 7 o'clock this morning. I-485 is still shut down in both directions due to that gas leak. That is on East John Street. And you'll notice that stretch of red that extends across the area from the inner and outer loop, but also from Union County as well, as those inbound Independence drivers try and get on the ramp to get onto I-485. It is just a mess out there. Now, the Matthews Police Department, they are diverting traffic off the exit ramp to East John Street, then back onto the entry ramp to get onto I-485. That is why it's so slow moving, because they want to avoid any drivers traveling on the I-485 bridge that is underneath that gas leak right now onto East John Street. Best alternate route would be to utilize Pineville Matthews Road, but it is still going to add likely 30 minutes to even an hour for that morning commute. Also looking at a new crash. This is impacting I-485 near I-77 over towards North Charlotte, currently blocking one lane of traffic. Chris?
All right, thanks a lot, Becca. Happy to say the weather world is okay for right now. We are just dealing with some clouds, and it's going to be a much sunnier end of the day, but at the cloudiest right around lunchtime. Lower 80s today. All right. And today is officially going to be the 12th 80-degree temperature we've had in the month of April. It has been quite warm, and we're singing the 80s over the next few days. Today, 82 degrees. A great day to take a ride in your little red Corvette. For your Wednesday, you may say, I want to dance with somebody, with a high of 87 degrees, and then maybe call a friend, because that's what friends are for, to hang out on Thursday. Thursday, 86 degrees, but we do see some increasing rain chances as we work our way towards the weekend, and coincidentally, that's for Love and Life. Best chances really about late Friday and heading into Saturday. Should be dry by Sunday, though. That's the best day of the three.
All right, thanks so much, Chris. So we're going to take a quick break right now, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another update on weather and traffic coming up in just about 2 minutes. And of course, we'll be streaming the headlines at our live Impact News studio. You can see our own Jane Monreal is there. She's going to take over at 9 o'clock, including all of the live breaking news events and some updates on that traffic situation on 485. Make sure you keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Good Tuesday morning out there. I am still following that breaking traffic news in Matthews, where I-485 is currently still shut down in both directions at East John Street due to a gas leak that is happening on East John Street. We previously had the road closed around 4 o'clock this morning, now has extended to I-485. Right now, traffic is being diverted off the exit ramp off of I-485 from John Street and then right back on. Now, this is all due to avoid traffic on that bridge on I-485 that is underneath that gas leak on East John Street. So you'll want to completely avoid this area. You can see the backups extending both directions 5 to 6 miles, but also impacting inbound Independence Boulevard as drivers try and get on that ramp to I-485. Again, an area that you'll want to avoid. They do hope to have this reopened by noon. Chris?
Plain and simple, warmer than yesterday by about 5 degrees, similar high to what we had on Saturday. Overnight lows back to the lower 60s, even the mid 60s for the next few days. Our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast shows the warmest day this coming Wednesday, 87 degrees. Best chances for rain Friday and Saturday before we dry out to end the weekend. Take care, everybody.